When the world's biggest motorsport series showed up on the famous Las Vegas Strip, the city was supposed to get a shot in the arm. It was billed as the event that would change everything: global attention, premium visitors, billions in economic impact. The organizers raved about legacies, infrastructure upgrades, and the biggest show on earth. But what turned up was not just a race. It became a loaded gamble for a city already buckling under the pressure of mega events, unsustainable debt, rising costs, and shrinking middle-class tourism. Formula One did not save Vegas. At least so the evidence suggests, it may have accelerated its decline from destination for all to playground for a shrinking elite. The first red flag was the disruption to the city's rhythm. To host a night race on the Strip, roads had to be closed for extended periods, surrounding hotels reworked, parking lots repurposed, and infrastructure built at enormous cost. Local businesses that rely on routine tourism found themselves blocked off, forced into access detours, or losing entire days of operations. Residents took to forums and social media complaining that the race weekend felt like a fortress rather than a festival. One longtime local wrote, "We are bringing a major tourist event. What right do we have to complain about it?" But many did. The chaos meant that the very crowd the city depends on, casual visitors, families, weekend tourists, started avoiding Vegas during race week, unwilling to deal with snarled traffic, expensive hotels, and VIP-only pricing. Then there are the economics. On paper, the race generated big numbers. A 2024 impact report claimed the Las Vegas GP generated $934 million in economic activity in 1 year, including $284 million in local wages. Yet those numbers hide deep flaws. Much of the large sum came from infrastructure build-outs and one-time spending, not sustainable recurring tourism. Meanwhile, hotel room rates soared, resort fees spiked, and everyday visitors felt squeezed out. That is a pattern. When major new events arrive, the city often raises prices, adds fees, and builds projects for wealthy visitors and corporate clients. Regular tourists and locals get left in the margin. One publication reported a drop of 11.3% in visitor volume in June 2025 compared with the previous year. While not all of this can be blamed on Formula One, the race and the infrastructure demands around it were part of a larger shift in Vegas from inclusive mass tourism to exclusive premium experiences. It is not just the financial strain, it is the identity shift. Las Vegas built itself by offering a version of luxury everyone could access: $49 rooms, thrill shows, buffets, low-limit blackjack. Now those things are gone. Formula One was pitched as a step in the evolution of Vegas as luxury global destination, but evolving into a city where ordinary tourists feel priced out and locals feel ignored is not progress. It is exclusion. Locals complain that the Strip is increasingly for high rollers and corporations, not for families, working-class visitors, or repeat guests. When the event focused on million-dollar suites and influencer hospitality, it sent a signal: if you are not spending big, you are not part of the crowd anymore. Another angle seldom discussed is how major events like Formula One shift municipal priorities. The city and the tourism authority spent millions subsidizing the Grand Prix, investing in infrastructure, marketing, and accommodations. One blog noted, Las Vegas invests over $7 million to boost major upcoming events, including Formula One. Those funds often come at the expense of local services, worker support, or lower-cost tourism initiatives. Meanwhile, as the race grows, the city commits to long-term contracts and massive spending, locking in high costs while regular tourism becomes unpredictable. That kind of gamble can put the city's entire tourism model at risk. Furthermore, the Formula One event altered the guest experience for many tourists in unintended ways. While big spenders poured into weekend hospitality suites and skyboxes, mid-level guests who stayed in nearby hotels faced traffic closures, inflated rates, and limited access to normal Strip amenities. Some hotels and restaurants around the circuit reported business losses during race week. One local news article documented businesses losing up to $1 million because of disruption tied to the race setup and rerouting of flows. When the local economy suffers at the same time you bring in a mega event, you lose the broader base that keeps the city stable. There is also a question of sustainability. The city built a street circuit down the heart of the Strip. That means periodic closures, construction, noise, and crowd management. For a property already facing headwinds in tourism, remote work, cheaper alternatives, and shrinking budgets, adding such recurring disruption may not be the flashy boost it first appears. Moreover, when you depend on one huge event to prop up your city's image, you become vulnerable. If attendance drops, if rates collapse, if event fatigue sets in, you are left with high fixed infrastructure costs and fewer tourists than before. In a way, Formula One exposed the fragility of the new Vegas model. That is why many locals and workers do not see the Grand Prix as a win. It has not revived the Strip for them. It has made it less accessible, more expensive, and more disorienting. Hospitality workers who survived the pandemic expect recovery to return to normalcy. Instead, they face 80-hour shifts during event buildup, fewer shifts during normal weekends, and more pressure to perform for big spenders while everyday visitors shrink. The effect is rising burnout, higher turnover, and a workforce that feels undervalued. So what can be done? The race can still succeed, but only if the city addresses the broader damage. That means lowering barriers for regular tourists, protecting local businesses, controlling inflation in hotel rates and resort fees, and reflecting in the contracts how disruption affects non-premium visitors. If Formula One becomes just another spectacle for elites, Vegas ends up losing its competitive edge as a mass market destination. The event needs to serve the city at large, not just the high roller suite. In the end, the Las Vegas Grand Prix may not be what ruined Vegas, but it is a clear symbol of what is going wrong. A city built on open access, risk, entertainment, and inclusivity is being rewritten for exclusivity, corporate profit, and spectacle. And when the many stop coming because the price is too high or the experience too complex, the few who remain will not be enough to keep the city alive in its old form. Vegas still glitters, but its model is shifting. The question is this: does the city want reclaiming, or will it keep building bigger spectacles while its core audience walks away?